Alright, so... Fucking... God. So I got one of those Stream Decks, right? They were on sale a while ago. I've been using it for, coming up on 5 months now. It's been really nice. It works pretty well. But recently, they fucking broke something in it. Because the plugins that connect OBS to the Stream Deck just don't work. Every time I boot it up, it's always like waiting for OBS. OBS is working. It's working fine. It's just something in the Stream Deck is fucking broken. And it used to be really convenient, right? I used to be able to switch between streams. I could do splits automatically. All really nice stuff. And now it's always just waiting for OBS. And I can't figure out how to fix it without uninstalling everything. And that just sounds like a fucking hassle. What would you do at the world's end? Same old, bucket list, or save the day? So yeah, that's been like, I feel like every week I've been fighting with the Stream Deck just to get it to work. Most of the time I can get it to work, right? Most of the time I can get it to press the button and flip between segments, but this week I just couldn't get it to work. I messed around with it for like 10 minutes. It was refusing to work, and I was like, fuck it, we're just gonna start the stream. I feel like if there was a way I could reboot the Stream Deck, where I could like turn it off and turn it back on, I feel like that would fix it. Is that? Oh, that's right now. Holy shit. I don't really care, honestly. But yeah, if there was just a way I could like reboot this sucker, then I feel like that would solve my problem. But there just doesn't seem to be. And also, I think Twitch is giving me issues as well. Because, of course, nothing is easy. Yeah, no, fucking nothing wants to work for me. I mean, luckily I can still do splits. Right? Like, I can still have it do the splits. But other than that... God, this piece of shit... Yeah, Twitch seems to be fighting with me for some reason that I don't entirely understand. Alright, we might do a little Splatoon later, but for the moment, whatever. Yeah, God, man, it's all technical issues. Streaming has always been technical issues. It's technical issues right now. What I did, I don't think actually fixed anything. Because of course it didn't. It never does. Oh, wait, actually. Okay, maybe I actually did fix it. And maybe I fixed the Twitch part anyways. So we're not doing another Crab's Treasure. After last week's stream, I did actually continue playing. I played for like another probably like an hour and a half, fighting the next boss, the Duchess. I don't remember what her name was. She was the Duchess. She was a Dungeness crab. We met her at one point. She wanted us to bring back the treasure because she was the Duchess of Slacktide. I just don't remember her name. So I went back, I fought her, took me over an hour to beat her. So, yeah, I actually do have that footage. I recorded all of that footage, but I'm just like, nah, fuck it, ugh. Like, if you thought me fighting the law was hard, no, this was like way worse. And it's only been worse from there, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So we got that. We have 3 news stories tonight. All pretty biggish ones. Yeah, they're all pretty biggish ones. 2 Nintendo ones broken up by an Xbox One / Bethesda. I have it in my notes as Bethesda, but again, Bethesda is owned by Xbox, so it's technically an Xbox One. So we do have that. You know, shitty game industry is shitty. Surprise, surprise, what else is new? Oh wow, the game industry fucking sucks. Oh, what a big surprise that is. So yeah, we got that. And then we got 2 Nintendo stories. One about the Switch 2, and then the other one about the Nintendo World Championships. So we're going to talk about both of those. And yeah, and we got a short review because, spoiler alert, I haven't seen anything. I don't even think I've watched any TV. And yeah, and I think that's it. So I guess let's start with our Switch story. So early in the week, at probably like Tuesday, it'd be 4 p.m. Japanese time. I think it was like 3 a.m. in the United States. So yeah, it was super early in the United States, but it was like in the evening in Japan. Nintendo / President Furukawa put out a tweet effectively saying that, hey, guess what? We will be doing a Nintendo Direct in June. However, do not expect the Nintendo Switch 2 to be at that Direct. We will reveal the Nintendo Switch 2 at a later point. To read the tweet word for word, this is Furukawa, president of Nintendo. We will make an announcement about the successor to the Nintendo Switch within this physical year. It will have been over 9 years since we announced the existence of the Nintendo Switch back in March of 2015. We will be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding the latter half of 2024. Or regarding Nintendo Switch software lineup for the latter half of 2024. But please be aware that there are no mentions of Nintendo Switch successors during that presentation. So yeah, our 2 big stories here is, yes, the confirmation that, hey, guess what? The Switch 2 is real. They say by the end of the physical year, not physical, like not like strength, like physical, like financial. The end of the physical year is March 2025, because physical years they're done in 4 quarters, and for some reason the quarter always ends in March instead of, when you think it would. Why is that? I have no fucking idea. But trust me, that's how it works. So we know the Switch is going to be revealed by March of 2025. Now, previously, I had made the prediction that the Switch was going to... When all the rumors were going around that the Switch was delayed, I had predicted that the Switch 2 was going to be releasing in March of 2025. And guess what? I'm still predicting that. My prediction has not changed. I think the Switch 2 is going to follow the same release as the regular Switch did. And that's an announcement / reveal in October. And a release date of March. Have a big showcase direct in the latter half of January to get people all hyped. Show the trailer for Mario Odyssey 2 that, gets everyone excited. Makes sense, I think Nintendo, because that worked for the Switch. And I mean, the Switch is, as of, because, a lot of this stuff came out in financial briefings this week. As of this latest financial briefing, the Switch has sold 141 million units. And Nintendo expects that by March 2025, it will sell another 14 million units. How did I miss that? So, right, that puts it higher than the DS at 1.52 million? Maybe even higher than that, 1.54. Somewhere's in there. Basically, Nintendo's... Now, that does not beat out the PS2, which is at 155 million. But it puts it right underneath it. So yes, I do think there's a good chance that yes, the Switch does beat that. of course, I do think this new Switch that they're announcing it's kind of like the change from Game Boy to Game Boy Color. I don't, or I guess Game Boy Color to Game Boy Advance, or I guess DS to 3DS. Like, I know some people have been wondering, like, is this going to be like an incremental change? Kind of like the Switch to the Switch 2, right? Like the... I'm going to use the comparison of the like the Xbox One, the Xbox One to the Xbox One X, right? Like a half step. I don't think this is going to be a half step. I think this is a full next generation console. But there was a... Basically, Furukawa was asked, like, hey, you use the word Switch successor here. Or you use... It's like you use the term follow-up to the Nintendo Switch instead of Switch successor. Is there any particular reason you said, right, you word it like that? Because, you know, previously, like, when the Switch was announced... Right, they said this is the successor to the Wii U. Whereas this console is being called the follow-up to the Switch. So, of course, people are like, oh, does that mean this new console is going to be similar to what came before it? And yeah, again, my prediction is still the same. The Switch 2 is basically just going to be a better Switch. Of course, they're going to make some changes, you know, magnetic Joy-Cons and whatnot. But I don't actually expect it to be that different. So that thought has not changed at all. So yeah, you know, this doesn't surprise me at all. Right? The whole them being like, hey, guess what? The Switch 2 is not going to be at the June Direct, so don't go predicting it. Honestly, the bigger surprise here is them just saying, hey, guess what? We're doing a June Direct. Normally, Nintendo does not announce Directs like this early. At least not anymore. Right? Like, since 2020, Nintendo usually only waits about 24 hours. No, let's say 48. They usually only wait about 48 hours before a Nintendo Direct to announce we're getting a Direct. This is the first time in a long time that they're giving us probably about a month's notice. Which, I think the reason they're giving us a month's notice is, well, one, because of this whole investors meeting that just happened. But, so that's the main reason, right? They want to tell investors, like, hey, we've got things coming out later this year. We'll have a Direct that announces our latter games. And two, it's to stop Switch 2 speculation. Because this effectively puts Switch speculation on the down low until, you know, the actual reveal in October. Again, my prediction is October. Who knows? You know, the Switch 2 might not be coming out until November or October 2025, but I kind of sincerely doubt that. It already kind of feels like we're a little behind schedule, right? Like, I feel like the Switch 2 should have been announced by now, and it should have been announced back in, like, March, and it should be releasing in October. So, right, I kind of, like, already feel like we're kind of behind schedule, but, I mean, like, what else are you gonna do? You know? So, yeah. So, actual June Direct, right, they say there at the June Direct will cover what's releasing on Switch in the latter half of 2024. So, right, the Switch still has games. We got one of them announced earlier this week. You know what the worst part, you know what another thing that sucks about OBS, the Stream Deck not working, is I can't easily mute. Having a mute button for when I cough and whatnot is super convenient. But nope, I don't even have that. That fucking sucks. So, so Switch 2 Direct, what do I actually think is going to be there? I don't know. God, I need a drink. So my first thought, so if it's just covering latter half things, I don't think they're going to announce anything that's going to be on the Switch 2 at launch. Right? Like, we're not going to, like, let's say the Switch 2 launches with Mario Odyssey 2. They're not going to tell us that, right? They're going to save that until the Switch 2's reveal. However, I could see Metroid Prime 4. There is a decent chance that Metroid Prime 4 much like Breath of the Wild and Twilight Princess before it, is going to be launching on both systems. Right? It's going to be on Switch, and it's going to be on Switch 2. So I could see them announcing, hey, here's Metroid Prime 4, let's show it off, hey, it's coming to Switch. Either it's coming out in like October, or it's coming out next year. It's coming out in that March time window. And Nintendo's just announcing it now. Because, because it's coming to both Switch and Switch 2, it would make sense if they announce it now, coming to, just the Switch, and then later on they're like, hey, guess what, it will be on both. I could realistically see that. Again, I think it's better to launch the new console with a big 4 title. And we're too close to... normally I would say Zelda, but we're too close to Zelda to launch, to launch a new Zelda game. They could do a remake, but I think we're going to get a remake. Mario Odyssey makes the most sense. We got Mario Wonder, it was very good, but Mario Odyssey never had a follow-up. So having the follow-up to Mario Odyssey be a launch title on Switch 2 makes a lot of sense. It could be an Animal Crossing game, we can't rule that out. It's been a while. Animal Crossing New Horizons was 4 years ago. Switch 2 could launch with a new Animal Crossing. That's totally possible. And then the other big 4 is, of course, Splatoon. We're literally playing Splatoon 3. The game's not even 2 years old yet. I don't think that's going to happen. They could. I could see in, a January Direct them announcing Splatoon 4. Or, again, Splatoon Battle Royale, like I had predicted multiple times. I could see that happening, but I don't think that's going to be a launch game. Because I do think we're going to get a Splatoon 4. So yeah, that's I don't want to rule that out, but yeah, I kind of don't think that's going to happen. So predictions for the Direct. Again, Metroid Prime 4 is a pretty decent guess. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I can see that, Metroid Prime 4. So that's prediction number 1. Prediction number 2 is the Twilight Princess and Wind Waker remasters. Supposedly those games exist. Supposedly they're done. Supposedly. So I could see that being a thing. I could see them finally revealing that. Because again, Nintendo wants to push out a Zelda game every year. If that's how they're going to do it, I could see them being, that's how they're going to do it. They're going to push out new Zelda game. Right, and it's just Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. I would love to see them both in one collection for $60. That would be really cool. That's not a very Nintendo move. But to be fair, it's near the end of the Switch's lifespan. Nintendo's been making a lot of non-Nintendo moves recently. Kind of. So, anything's possible. There's that Donkey Kong game that's been rumored to exist for years now. I don't think we're gonna... if it's real, we'll see it. If not, we won't. I could see us getting a new Mario Sports game. Sluggers... I could see it being Sluggers. I could see them deciding, hey, let's do Mario Ice Hockey. We've never done ice hockey before. I could see that just being a brand new thing. Arms 2, Electric Boogaloo. I wouldn't mind an Arms 2. If they gave it a proper campaign story mode, it could be a lot of fun. I think it was a decent game. It just needed a campaign. But no, that'll be a Switch 2. Switch 2 does also mean we're probably going to get a new Nintendo IP. Right? We usually only get one new Nintendo IP per console. Right? The Wii U gave us Splatoon. The Wii gave us the Miis. The GameCube gave us Pikmin. Switch gave us ARMS. We could get a new Nintendo IP. But that's January. I want to see... You know what new IP I want from Nintendo? After playing Crab Souls, right, another Crab's Treasure, I want to see Nintendo make their own Dark Souls game. I would love to see what they could create. Right? Nintendo making a Dark Souls game that appeals to everybody would be a very interesting move. And I'd love to see them try it. I'd even love to... Even if it wasn't a new IP, even if they just tried it with Zelda, I think that would be great as well. Oh, I still have my prediction. My other prediction, if we don't get Twilight Princess, I still think the Age of Calamity might happen. Or the, you know... I gave my predictions for an Age of Calamity thing a while ago. I still think that's possible. Like, I have not ruled that out yet. So, yeah. But yeah, you know, I'll say this. I do not expect the latter half of 2024 to be very big. Right? Nintendo, according to the rumors, part of the reason the Switch 2 got delayed, potentially, is because they were worried that the system wasn't going to have enough games at launch. Right? That they weren't making enough systems, and they weren't going to have enough games. So I don't see them revealing a bunch of games for the normal Switch, if they're going to save a bunch of them for Switch 2. You really just need one holiday game, which, again, could be Metroid. And, like, that's it. You know, you've got an RPG, you've got probably some sort of remake or something. I know we're getting Luigi's Mansion next month, but we usually get one remake in December every year, right? So I could see us getting another remake, you know, that November-December period, like we got Super Mario RPG recently, right? I could see us getting something like that, or Nintendo teaming up with someone to do a remake or something. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get much. The biggest thing we're probably going to get is a Zelda game. You know, because Nintendo wants to put a Zelda game out every year. And again, I think we're going to get a Mario game, because Nintendo usually tries to put a Mario game out. And I know we just got a Paper Mario, but I could see them doing something smaller. You know? I could see them if they're making a hockey game or a Super Sluggers, I could see them saving that for the next console. And instead, you know, doing something more generic. Mario Picross 3D. So yeah, those are my kind of sort of predictions. I don't have many. So our next story. So this has been developing all week long. And it's been a real clusterfuck. But basically, there's been some closures at Bethesda. Right? The story I originally saw Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg posting about it. And it was Bethesda was closing down 4 studios. The first one was... First one was Arcane Austin, who you might know from the game Redfall. Tango Gameworks, who you should know from Hi-Fi Rush. And then the other 2 ones were Alpha Dog Games and Roundhouse Games. I have no idea what these 2 studios are. Like, I have no idea what they've done, what they've worked on, but those are the other 2. So, immediately, right, the thing that comes to mind is what the fuck Bethesda, Xbox, Microsoft? Hi-Fi Rush was a critical darling. You said yourself that the game was successful. It won a BAFTA. It won a Game Award. Plus several other awards on top of that. Why the fuck are you closing down this successful game studio? That again, you yourself said you were happy with. Right? Like you see Arcane Austin getting closed. And they made Redfall failed. I do not think one bad game should close an entire studio, but that's how AAA companies work, sadly. We've seen this time and time again. You have one bad game, one game undersells, the entire studio gets closed. And sometimes they don't, right? Like, I think of Visceral. Was it Visceral? Volition, whichever studio did the Tony Hawk Pro Skater remakes, another studio that had successful games that also got closed down and put into the Call of Duty machine. Right, they got sent to the Call of Duty mines, and their studio was basically destroyed. Even though, as the story did come out, right, there had been rumors that they were going to remake Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. Yeah, guess what? Those rumors were backed up to, like within this past week. Being like, hey, guess what? They were also going to do Tony Hawk Pro Skaters 3 in 4. They had pitched the idea, but EA, Activision, whichever studio, Activision, I guess, thought they would be better fit working on Call of Duty games. And that's why they were, absorbed into the Call of Duty hellhole, right? So, fuck, right? If you make a successful game, they close your studio. You make a failure of a game, they close your studio. You just can't win. And it fucking sucks. We all knew this was going to happen. The second Xbox and Bethesda merged, Xbox and Activision, people were coming out of the woodworks being like, hey, guess what? This is going to close studios. Xbox is going to lay off thousands of employees. And this isn't even the end, right? I think they even said at some point that there will be more layoffs in the future, right? In, like, the near future. So, right, this isn't even the end of it. But yeah, right, Hi-Fi Rush, this critically acclaimed game, it's now dead. And, of course, it eventually did come out, and I've got a few tweets I'll read here in a minute. But basically, it came out behind the scenes that Tango Gameworks had pitched Hi-Fi Rush 2 to Microsoft. They were talking about doing a second one, and Microsoft said no, because that would cost more money, because, they would have to hire new employees. They would have to get new hardware and software and whatnot to make a second game. And that would just cost more money. And of course, Hi-Fi Rush is a good single-player game. The type of single-player games that sells consoles. And, it doesn't make all the money in the world. So that's another reason, right? And your multiplayer game that was designed to make all the money in the world, well, guess what? Nobody fucking wanted it. Because nobody wants multiplayer games designed to make all the money in the world because they don't have souls. People want games like Hi-Fi Rush, but those games cost more money. And Microsoft isn't willing to spend that money. Because, even though they've spent like $40 billion, even more than that, but that's my lowballing estimate, buying up all these studios. At the end of the day, even though they spent all this money, Xbox and Microsoft are still expected to make a net profit every year. So they have to start laying people off in order to make that net profit. They have to make more money because we've got to have more money. It is an absolute shit show. This fucking industry, it's literally impossible to win. So where was the tweet? Right, it was the illusion of choice. Your game sells well and wins a BAFTA, you get layoffs. Your game does not sell well, you get layoffs. But yeah, Tango was in the process of pitching a Hi-Fi Rush sequel, said the people who asked not to be identified discussing non-public information. Xbox still isn't done cutting costs, sent voluntary buyout offers to some ZeniMax staff. Why were Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks closed? Bad timing, perhaps. Activision purchases have ramped up scrutiny on Xbox. Because, someone, I'm going to guess someone at Kinda Funny said this. I was just reading from Jason Schreier's tweet. But someone at Kinda Funny, I want to say, said something along the lines of, before Xbox, they never made too much money, but they never cost that much money. Microsoft was always fine with leaving them alone, because they more or less broke even every year. Sure, they spent $1 billion, but they made back $1 billion. But now, with Xbox buying up all these studios, they've spent like $40 billion. Game Pass is a money-losing service. Because, you know, people will buy Game Pass and then not buy your actual game. It's just losing you money, technically. And, right, like, it was literally part of this was like, hey, guess what? When companies put their games on Game Pass, let's say they have, like, a sales goal to sell 500,000 units. None of those units on Game Pass count. Companies are literally failing to meet sales goals because of Game Pass. So, fuck. It's just impossible to win. It's impossible to win. The game industry is fucked. Because, yeah, Xbox is spending $40 billion. And now Microsoft, you know, the head, is like, hey, you gotta make that money back now. You have to make games that are making that $40 billion you lost. And that's just not how this works. I don't know how he didn't die there originally. Where's the other good tweet? The reason that Tango was axed was explicitly because they released a successful video game and were pitching a sequel that would have necessitated new hires. That's not speculation. That's literally what we're being told. You can't reform leadership that thinks like that. Right? Because they would have had to spend more money on the sequel. Yeah, now that sequel's not going to happen. Microsoft says it and then this was a tweet, right? This comes from Wario64, but he's quoting a Verge article. Microsoft says it needs games like Hi-Fi Rush the day after killing its studio. And the quote is, we need smaller games that give us prestige and awards. Matt Booty, head of Xbox Studios, told employees in a town hall today. So that was 2 days ago. That was on the 8th. So yeah, no, even though, right, we need games like Hi-Fi Rush, you know. Games like Hi-Fi Rush sell consoles. Multiplayer games don't sell consoles. Single-player games do. I know some people say Call of Duty sells consoles, and yeah, it does, but not in the way, not like a good single-player game will. Right, God of War sells a lot more than that fucking Last of Us game that got canceled was ever going to sell. But yeah, no, this is just a terrible, terrible layoffs in the gaming industry. This isn't even the end of it as well. Like, fuck. The entire business is it's just rotten to the core. Right? It's capitalism unchecked, going off the idea of trying to make infinite profits, which is just impossible to do. And it's costing them right? It's costing these studios everything. Thousands of employees are getting laid off every day. And there's just no way to win. There's just no way to win. Like I've seen Xbox has been like burning down this past week, metaphorically. You know, kind of like how we saw right last week PlayStation was in the hot seat with the with all the stuff about Helldivers 2. And that's still going on, but I mean, the Helldivers 2, they won there, but the Ghost of Tsushima PC port comes out like in the next like week or two, and guess what? That's also going to require a PlayStation account. So yeah, that we won one battle. The war is far from over there. So yeah, the entire industry is just fucked. The community manager over at the studio that does Helldivers got laid off for telling people to review bomb the game. That worked, but the person who did that, it cost them their job. And this industry just fucking sucks. Everything sucks. It's worse than before. We try to unfuck it, but we fuck it even more. So our next story comes from Nintendo, right? One of the few studios that actually has done some good. That, you know, instead of laying off thousands of employees, their CEO took a pay cut, right? He took 50% of his payout, and he was able to keep everyone employed because he was the last true great man in video games. Indie dev. We can talk about it. Let's say AAA, right? I'm specifically talking AAA. I'm not talking indie devs. I guess maybe the last true great executive. Someone there was a tweet that was like, oh, none of these executives care about games, right? People like Phil Spencer and Jim Ryan, they're not your friends, right? Bobby Kotick isn't your friend. They don't give a fuck about games, right? Miyamoto doesn't care. Doesn't care about your feelings. He just wants to make more money. And it's like, out of all the people, like, if he had said Furukawa, I would have been like, yeah, okay, sure, I get that. But Miyamoto is literally the exact opposite of that, right? He doesn't give a fuck about IP, right? Because it's, oh, these guys only care about IP in order to save the bottom line. Miyamoto does not give a fuck about IP to save the bottom line. He will literally destroyed the Star Fox IP and failed to save the bottom line. Because he was never trying to save the bottom line. He was trying to make a good game, and he just failed. And it sucks, because it killed the Star Fox IP. Right? God, that game, man. I didn't hate it as much as other people did, but God, I wanted to like it more than I did. So last week we talked about how there was an ESRB leak about the Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. Well, on Wednesday this week, Nintendo revealed that, hey, guess what? This is a real thing. They put up this trailer where they showed some of the people who were in the Nintendo World Championships in 2015, and I guess they did one in 2017 as well. I'll be honest, I don't remember the Nintendo World Championships 2017. I remember the 2015 one. The 2015 one was a big deal. Because, right, it was the first time it had happened in, like, the 25-year anniversary? That sounds right. And I guess this year is... No, I think it'd be next year's, the 35th. But, right, it was basically Nintendo made a big deal about it at the time. I don't remember the 2017 one. But they put out this trailer that's like, hey, here's some of the people who competed, and guess what? We're going to be doing another Nintendo World Championships later this year. So, right, for all those interested, and for those who want to get some practice in, guess what? We're releasing on July 18th? I'll have to double check that date here in a second. But basically, they're releasing a new Nintendo World Championship game. They start off by showing the speedrun mode, right, where you're playing through games, you're doing speedruns. It even has the fucking live split speedrun timer in the corner. You can see the controller buttons. It's actually, again, it very much, like, when Nintendo said, hey, we're going to add a speedrunning mode to this game, it doesn't feel like they cut any corners. Like, it legitimately looks like a speedrunning thing that you'd see, like, someone doing, like, a speedrun on Twitch. I'm actually I'm not going to say impressed. It's just, like, yeah, no, they got all the details right. I just love that it looks like live split. I think that's so funny. Yeah, there's a speedrunning mode. There's a party mode where you can do these, like, challenges with up to competing with yourself and 7 other players. Yeah, this is because, Nintendo NES games only use 2 buttons in a D-pad. You could just use half a Joy-Con. And of course those NES controllers they sold a few years back will also work. But yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, I could totally see this being easily done with 8 players. And it's kind of cool that this is the first Switch game since Smash Bros. The first Nintendo game, I guess, since Smash Bros. That has 8-player multiplayer. I kind of wish they did more of that. Right? Like, I kind of wish Mario Kart had it. I know 8-player Mario Kart would be a nightmare, but I kind of wish they did it. There's a few other games like that where it's like, God, I wish this had more than 4 players. Coming from a family of 5, having games that can only support 4 players sucks. Right? Like, I know Super Mario Wonder multiplayer has its problems, But, trying to fit 5 players with 4 characters, yeah, that kind of sucks. And the Switch does it, but they don't just do it that often. Again, I could be wrong, but this is the only other game that I can think of other than like Smash Bros. Doing it. So there's a party mode. There are over 150 challenges in the game across 13 games. I do have the games list. I'll read it in a second. But yeah, 150 challenges is nothing to slouch out. 13 games does kind of suck. Alright, I kind of wish there were more games. I mean, there is no Urban fucking Champion, so I guess that's nice. But, right, compared to like NES Remix had more games on it. So that does kind of suck. But, other than that, it seems fine. Let's see. The price point, right? I talked about how it was going to be less than $60 last week. Yeah, no, it's a $30 price point. That is a very un-Nintendo-like move. Because I'm pretty sure NES Remix, which this game is clearly a spiritual successor to NES Remix, like, they could have called this game NES Remix 3, and no one would have batted an eye. I'm pretty sure, right, it's just, new console, new branding, if I had to guess. I'm kind of surprised they didn't call it NES Remix 3, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, no, I think the new branding is fine. $30 price point's not bad. I've seen some people say, like, oh no, that's way too high. Fuck Nintendo. Listen, if this was Nintendo, they would charge a full $60 for it. Traditionally, Nintendo does charge a shitload of money for stuff like this. Again, in recent months, Nintendo's kind of been experimenting around with price because they kept making games too expensive. And guess what? It's, $30 too much? Then don't fucking buy it. It's not that big of a deal, man. It's a fucking NES game. I'm probably gonna check it out, just more out of curiosity than anything else. Because, yeah, $30 isn't a terrible price point at all, in my opinion. I mean, I paid the same amount for Crab Souls, and that game's pretty good. I mean, that game's probably better, because, it's Crab Souls, but... But on top of that, there's also going to be a $60 deluxe edition. We'll go over the deluxe edition here in a second. I want to read the games list. So the games included are Balloon Fight, Donkey Kong, Excite Bike, Ice Climbers, Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, Metroid, Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, Super Mario Bros. 3, The Legend of Zelda, and Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. No third-party games in there. No Tetris in there. No Ridge Racer. Or, was it Ridge Racer? Right, it's all first-party games. That does kind of surprise me that they're only doing first-party games, I would have thought at least, like, Tetris or Pac-Man would make it in. But no. Of course, basically every game I just listed there is on Nintendo Switch Online. So if you just want to go play those games, well, guess what? Nintendo Switch Online is right there. Because they have confirmed that, yes, it's only including snippets of the games. It does not include the full game, which I know some people are mad about. I mean, again, if there was no Nintendo Switch Online, I totally understand you being mad. Especially because they're just fucking ROMs, like, who cares? But the fact that they're easily available on Switch, and, every emulator under the sun, who cares? I don't. So the deluxe edition includes a reproduction cartridge of the original gold Nintendo World Championships edition. I say reproduction cartridge. It is not a working cartridge. It just, it looks like the original gold cartridge that people won on the NES back in the day, that there are only like 10 or 20 of in the whole world. Yeah, it includes a replica of that. It's more like a trophy than anything else, but I actually think it's neat. I'm kind of surprised, because the deluxe edition has, like, a trophy on the box. I'm kind of disappointed this didn't come with a trophy. And that would have been cool. I kind of wish they had just, given us that, like, a little mini replica of that trophy. But no, instead we get a gold cartridge, which I wish it worked. it would be really funny if this was the first NES game Nintendo had made in over 30 years. That would have been really funny, but yeah, whatever. It includes pens, right? So like you have little badge pens that are, I think, Mario, Zelda, Metroid, and whatever the fourth one was. It has artwork, right? All 13 of those games has like their own little like box art there included with it. And then of course there's a physical game. So unless you buy the deluxe edition, the game is digital only. I actually don't mind that at all. I do not mind them being like, hey, we're only making kind of like, you know, I don't, if Nintendo, the world is moving towards physical only, digital only, I mean. And I kind of hate it. But I think what Nintendo's been doing of like, hey, you want this game now? Well, you can buy the digital edition right now. But if you want to wait a few months for a physical edition, yeah, we'll be selling it like what they did with Pikmin or what they did with Metroid Prime. I personally don't actually really mind that. I know some people do, like people who want to play a game right now but would rather have a physical edition. But for something like this, you know, I don't actually mind it. You know, being able to have this game pretty easily. And, you know, not having to spend an extra $30 for a deluxe edition with crap that I probably don't need. You know, because, like, I haven't looked at my Tears of the Kingdom deluxe edition in a year. Because we're coming up on a year on Sunday, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, I will say for the deluxe edition, we did learn that the Japanese deluxe edition is actually different. I don't know if it includes Famicom controllers, but it has a different, I think it has a different cartridge. I think it has a different, the artworks are different. Interestingly enough, the Japanese edition, 6 of the games on the Japanese edition are actually the American versions of the game. So, you know, because Nintendo made the game in Japan and then made an American version for the West. But for some of the games, like Super Mario Bros. 2, they then took the Western version and ported it back to Japanese. I guess like 6 of the games in this collection are just the Japanese ports, which I think is a very interesting thing to do. Like, I guess it just shows that, you know, we had the superior version, which is technically true. So, yeah. But yeah, I think the Japanese edition is mostly the same, just those minor changes. It's cool when they do stuff like that, even though, you know, collectors fucking hate it. I'm not one, though, so... What do I care? And then, right, July 18th was the release date. And then I've got... So, I think the game itself looks fine. It's nothing that special. It's clearly kind of like the original NES remix, or NES Remix 2, that came out later in the Wii U's lifespan, and was very clearly like a, yeah, you know, we just kind of need a game to release right now. This definitely feels like one of those things where it's like, yeah, they clearly just needed a game to release, and this felt like, oh yeah, you know, that'd be interesting. The game does not have online multiplayer, but it will have online leaderboards, so, you know, you can compare your speedrunning time against your friend and against people around the world. Okay, that's fine. And online multiplayer would have been cool, but because again, they're fucking NES games. But yeah, who cares? It's not like tennis is on here. But I have a prediction. So around the time this comes out, my prediction is that the Nintendo Switch Online app that, you know, has all the NES games in them, is going to get the original Nintendo World Championship cartridge. Because, so, we talked last week about how NES Remix 2 had its own version of the Nintendo World Championships within it, but, you know, they switched out Tetris for Dr. Mario, and they switched out Ridge Racer, or whatever game it was, for Mario 3. But I'm going to guess Nintendo is going to put out the original Nintendo World Championships on Nintendo Switch Online and task players to, you know, who can get the highest time. Of course, it is funny that right around the time they're going to be doing this, the Nintendo Switch is losing access to Twitter. because that's how much Twitter fucking sucks. But, you know, still, that's my prediction, because Nintendo has never re-released Nintendo World Championships. The only way to play it is usually to either get one of the original cartridges, which, again, cost thousands of dollars, because there's only a few hundred of them. Get a replica cartridge, because people did create bootleg replicas. Go watch the Angry Video Game Nerd episode, or Pat the NES Punk, right? They both talked about these things. Or emulate it. But I could see Nintendo putting an official release of the Nintendo World Championships on Nintendo Switch Online. That's just going to be my prediction. Honestly, it'd be a fun thing for them to announce, either when they do the real World right when they do the 2024 World Championships, or when they do right around the time this game releases, as part of like the hype cycle for it. Part of the marketing strategy being like, hey, do you want to play the original NES World Championships? Well, it's available right now. Part of me does also hope, though, given the name of this thing, and honestly, if Nintendo wants to use the Nintendo World Championships as like a brand name, I actually I like that more than NES Remix. NES Remix was kind of a boring brand name. I think Nintendo World Championships is like way more exciting. And if they want to do SNES Championships, if they want to do N64 Championships, you know people would love that. And those consoles are weak enough that you could easily do something like that. So I would genuinely love to see that. Because the way this is worded does make it seem like that's something they can and will do. It's a Nintendo, though, so anything's possible. But, like, the Switch is doing really well. It's selling a lot of units. So this is a game that can easily sell 1 million copies. Because, like, as part of the Nintendo reporting, right, for the Financial Times stuff, people were pointing out that, right, even games like Princess Peach Showtime and Mario vs. Donkey Kong, you know, 2 games that are easily forgotten, you know, games that are just kind of releasing this year to fill out Nintendo's schedule. Even though they're doing that, they still sold 1 million copies. The Switch has 67 games that have sold over 1 million copies. It's kind of insane when you think about it. The Switch is a very lucrative console. Right, because another statistic that was pointed out is that Nintendo has made more money since the Switch released than the 30 years prior to the Switch. And that includes adjusting for inflation. Even adjusted for inflation, Nintendo has made more money in the past 7 years than they did the 30 years prior to that. Which is crazy to think about. But I mean, when Mario Kart 8 sells 61 million units, it's actually more than that. Technically, if you count the Wii U version, it's like 70 million, which makes it like the 6th best-selling game of all time. Yeah, no, that'll do it. That'll do it. So yeah, that's the NES Championships edition. You know, it's probably honestly, I'm more interested in the like Princess Peach Showtime, which I could not give a shit about. Even though I'm not a big NES guy, and you know, I shit on NES games all the time. Ice Climbers, Urban fucking Champion, Kid Icarus. I'm willing to check these. I'm willing to check it out. All right. So I guess that brings us into WIBE. So what do I have to talk about? So I don't have any food stuff. So at least I don't think I do. Well, I mean, I don't have any like fast food stuff. So I don't think I went anywhere this week. I was thinking about getting another one of those Sonic Dreamsicle, orange Dreamsicle floats, but I ended up not doing that. I wanted to go get something, but I couldn't remember what. No, I don't think I did anything else. Did I get a sandwich this week, or was that last week? I don't know. I can't think of anything. But the one thing I was able to find is I went to the store and I saw Dr. Pepper Creamy Coconut So I do have a can right here that I will open here in a second. Once, you know, next time I die. You know what? The Coke wasn't, the raspberry spiced Coke was not that bad. Maybe this isn't that bad. Okay. It smells like coconut. Oh, shit. Wow. Ooh, that boy sure is interesting. I don't know how to feel about that. I definitely taste the coconut. And when they say creamy coconut, I don't know if the liquid is thicker. Like, it's not the consistency of, like, a syrup. But there's something about the liquid that just feels thicker. Like, it doesn't go down as smoothly as, like I have this glass of water. This glass of water goes down so smooth. No, this has, like, it's a little, like, more viscous? Is that the word I'm looking for? Maybe it's not viscous. Maybe it's the opposite of viscous. I don't know. It's fucking weird. Yeah, like, it goes into my mouth and it's like it's you know, the consistency of a normal Dr. Pepper. But then maybe it's very, like, bubbly and it kind of, like, slows it down a little bit. It's fucking weird. Is it bad? I don't know. It might not. I could definitely see this being, like, a good... Coconut gets used a lot for mixed drinks. I could see this being good in a mixed drink. But on its own? Ooh, that fucking sucks for you, man. You missed the shit out of that. Of course, I got killed immediately after, but yeah. Yeah, no, this is weird. Yeah, I definitely taste the coconut. Like, it's definitely there. It's just kind of... Huh. That is so weird. Alright, we're gonna head out from here. We're gonna... Let's go do a run or two of Salmon Run. Oh, see, the multiplayer map's updated. I'm gonna go hit my slot machine real quick. And then we will go... Oh shit, we're in the... I didn't even get a conch shell for today. We're in slot machine. Oh, we got a GameCube? Oh, that's neat. Oh, our next one is a red ball. Ooh, that's gonna be nice. I was curious, and I looked like... When is the next time we get, like, a gold or silver ball? Because I've never gotten a gold ball, and I think I've only got silver once. So I looked ahead. And the next silver ball I get is in 98 spins. I'm sure... I don't know if things get shuffled around during updates. But... Oh, this is extra work? Fuck, I thought this was... I mean, I knew it wasn't big mode. I just didn't... I didn't even think about it being extra work. Extra work sucks. We've had one good run of extra work. I think. I don't know. Can we check the board? No, the board, I'm assuming, isn't here. So, yeah. So, creamy Dr. Pepper. Would I recommend it? No. Go buy the Mountain Dew Fruit Punch. The Mountain Dew Fruit Punch is so fucking good. One of their... Honestly, it might be better than normal Baja Blast. But, like, other than that... No. I don't know if I'd... If you're a big coconut guy, I can see this being good. Again, I can see this being good in a mixed drink. But outside of that, nah, not really. Okay, we got a weapon I'm somewhat familiar with. We're so fucked. So, I've been playing another Crab's Treasure. So right, the Duchess Crab, whatever her name is, took me over an hour to beat, but I did beat her eventually. It took me forever. Again, I don't remember her name. Duchess. The Duchess of Slacktide. That's kind of all I remember. But she was a pain in the ass, but I did beat her. And then from there, I went on to the next area, which is like a... You go to town after that. You go to the town of... It's like this double-decker town where all the rich people live at the top and all the poor people live at the bottom. Very clear metaphor, right? Like, it's not even a metaphor. It's literally just capitalism. The main plot actually kicks off in town because you're looking for your shell. You eventually kind of find it, and I'm assuming you find it, like, it's in the hands of this, like, prawn, and I'm, like, 90% sure this prawn who runs the prawn shop is the shark, right? Because it just acts weird, and it's like, okay, very clearly you're the shark. So after that, right, this cereal box drops out of the sky, and it has a treasure map that's kind of ripped. So now, you know, there's this big... Originally, the, like, mayor tries to be like, no, only I'm gonna do the treasure hunt. And then everyone else... And then eventually your character speaks up, and now everyone gets to do it. So you head out to the wasteland. You head to, like, the sand pools or something like that. There's this giant... If you stray off the path, there's, like, this giant crab that'll attack you. I only ended up coming across it, like, twice. It wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, it's this one. So, right, I ended up... So, basically, that was a non-issue. And then, after that... I then get to the next area, which is like a kelp forest style area. In the kelp forest style area, the first boss that I fought in the kelp forest area, it was like a, oh god, how do I describe it? It was a type of fish, but it had like a watering can on its head, and it did like a sucking blowing attack. It actually was not that hard. It took me like a few tries to beat. It was not that bad. And then after I beat it, you then continue through the area. You eventually get to the next boss, which is, I think it's Ikea, the Intimidation Crab. And if you've ever seen the trailers, this is the crab that uses the chopsticks. And I have been stuck on this boss for like 3 hours. I am just unable, no matter what I do, I cannot beat this boss. And it sucks. I have been trying for hours, and nothing I do is working. I can get through not reliably, but I can get through the first phase. But then, once you get it to half health, it breaks its one pair of chopsticks, right? It, like, splits them, so it has 2 chopsticks. And it gets a speed boost, so it's now faster. And I just can't deal with that. It's too fast, it does too much damage, right? Its hitboxes, because it now has 2 attacks, its hitbox is just way bigger. And yeah, I'm just struggling to deal with this image. I've been fighting it for hours, and I just cannot beat it. No matter what I do, I cannot beat this Intimidation Crab. So that's kind of where I'm stuck right now. Speedrunning I've been watching speedrun.com. The speedrunning did open. I think the world record for gun percent is like 46 minutes. I'm still very curious about doing gun percent, because the world record is also like 46 minutes. I'm sure you can get that record down. If the world record is 46 minutes, I'm sure you can get the non-world record. under 46. But yeah, no, I've just been stuck there. It was definitely one of those things where it's like, no, this would be a bad idea to do right now on stream because, God, this boss is so fucking hard. And I can barely concentrate as is. What the fuck makes you think I can concentrate through that? Oh boy, I barely made the quota in the end. But yeah, other than that, you know, other than being stuck at the same boss for like 3 hours, I have been enjoying Another Crab's Treasure. It's good. It's a really good game. But God, it's a fucking Souls-like. Of course, what else do you expect? I know I can turn on the gun, but I don't want to. If only because if I beat this game, there's a part of me that would really want to play Elden Ring after this. And Elden Ring's, right, not going to help me like Crab Souls. Right, Crab Souls has everything I need to beat. But, right, that comes at a cost. Oh, fuck. I'm trying to run these back. Okay, we're mostly there through the wave. Shit. Okay, we just need one more in. Okay, you survived. We made it through the wave. And I got one more in last minute. We're honestly not doing terrible. Like, honestly, we're not doing terrible for this. But yeah, so Crab Souls has been good, even though it's hard. And I think that's it. That's like all I've been playing. I haven't touched any other game. There was games I want to play. I'm very curious about Donkey's Animal Well. Not again. I know everyone's attributing it to Donkey. Yes, it was technically made by a solo dev. The problem is, when the game was announced, you know, everyone got on Donkey's case about it. Because you can find this footage, right? I've been doing this long enough that you can find me talking about this. When Donkey announced Big Mode, my take on it was, you know, worst case scenario, we get a bad game that I ignore. Best case scenario, we get a good game that I have a good time with. And guess what? Somehow we ended up in the best timeline, where he made not only a good game, but potentially Game of the Year. So, you know, everyone's having a great time with Animal Well. And I am genuinely curious about it. So yeah, it seems like it's a good game. I don't know. I have not played it. I haven't had the time to play it. All my money kind of went to Crab Souls. But I've heard good... I mean, I've been hearing nothing about good things. I saw a video that was, someone was, like, had the game, like, not minimized, but, like, in a smaller window. And when you shake the game in a smaller window, the, like, plants in the background, like, move with it. And that's very interesting. 128 feels like a lot, but I don't know if it is. I don't know if they... So with Big Run, they changed it where the amount of eggs you get affect how many, right, they have, like, set goals. I don't know if they did that to Extra Work or not. They might have done that, but they also might not have. I have no idea. But I'm going to call it here. You know, we had one pretty decent run. I know we technically didn't get the final one, but we got doubles on multiple waves. So, like, I'll take it. You know, 128 might not be great, but it also might be. I don't know. It's definitely one of those things where I feel like, yeah, we could have gotten that final wave, gotten those, like, last 10. And I would not be surprised if the minimum is 138 or whatever the max was. Right, whatever that was. So, yeah. I haven't really been playing any games. I haven't seen any movies, any TV. I got nothing for you, so I guess that takes us to the end. Let's check here. Nothing here. We got a thing here. We got nothing there. We got perfect. Okay, we got a few there. Alright, that's not bad. So part of me is like, oh, it's gonna be right. After over a year, is Team Fry finally gonna win it? Because, you know, check off my bucket list is a pretty common end of the world thing. But I don't know. I don't think it's gonna do anything. So my choice when picking this team is there's a College Humor bit about an asteroid hitting the Earth. Or I guess it's Dropout now. About an asteroid hitting Earth. And their response is like, sir, we could build a rocket. We could send a bunch of astronauts to the asteroid and blow it up. And the guy just responds, or, you know, we could just say fuck it. I mean, like, we've had a good run. What else is there? I mean, like, have you looked outside? Everything sucks. I mean, Trump, Harambe was killed, other, you know, microplastics, carbon emissions. Like, you know, humanity made it 2,500 years. That's a pretty good run. We can call it there. And it's not like life's over forever, you know. It'll come back eventually. So, fuck it. And yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I know that video ends with the joke of them of the Star Wars Episode 7 trailer released that same week. And like that's probably why they made the video. And it ends with that joke of right, oh, Star Wars Episode 7 trailer. Fuck it. I guess we do have to save the Earth. So, yeah. But nah, just fuck it. You know, we had a good run. Oh, I didn't... Fuck, Marble League. Fuck, College Humor. I feel like I have not talked about Game Changer at all this year. Game Changer has been so fucking good. The most recent episode, Beat the Buzzer, was so much fun. It was all, right, there were hidden buzzers all around the studio, and they had to, like, solve puzzles to get to them. And it was so fun, so creative. What a great episode. And the rest of the season has been really fantastic as well. You know, Bingo, I was reading, I guess, I think, was it Variety? Someone did a write-up on Dropout. Because I guess they're trying to get Bingo nominated for an Emmy. And I hope it works. I hope Bingo wins an Emmy. Because it's a really fucking good episode. Bingo was good. Last week's episode, Deja Vu was really good. Or, yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. Deja Vu was great. Yeah, no. Dropout has been fucking killing it. And the new season... we're almost at the season finale. but Sam did say that the season finale might be delayed a little bit due to editing, because it's a big out of the studio for this one, so it might be delayed. Whether that's a thing or not, because I know there's all these conspiracy theories about Samuel Dalton and whether or not Sam was replaced, and you know what, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I just kind of want to see how it all plays out. But it seems real interesting. So yeah, Dropout, College Humors, they've been doing great stuff. Dimension 20 had its season finale, which for Fantasy High Junior year, haven't watched it. Haven't watched any of Dimension 20 this season. Because I never watched season 2 of Fantasy High. Yeah, I know. You know, for someone who made a TikTok all about Dimension 20, I'm surprised I haven't seen it. And then Marble League, right now the Raspberry Racers are doing pretty good. I haven't seen today's episode, but as of yesterday, we were in like 3rd place. I feel really bad for the Bumblebees. Indigo Stars I could give less of a shit about. They're Indigo Stars, whatever. But the Bumblebees are like, I think there are 12 places left. Bumblebees are like in 10th. So they're not in the bottom 2, but they're right there. Because I kind of think the Bumblebees might be able to win this whole thing. But as I learned, all it takes is one bad week. Your team can be doing really well, and then just one bad week, one difficult track, just completely ruins you. Right? As I saw with Team Galactic, as we saw with the Green Ducks, right? Somehow the O'Rangers are still in this thing. I feel like every week the O'Rangers are just slipping by the skin of their marble. And it's a fucking mess. Because I do not want the O'Rangers to win this, but they might. So yeah. I would say we watch tonight's episode, but nah, let's not. Anything else we got to talk about? Oh, so I mentioned TikTok. So I've been posting Zelda TikToks again. I got in the mood last month sometime. I was like, yeah, I need to start doing, I want to finish Tears of the Kingdom. Because I had posted like a bunch of them, but we still had a bunch more to do. And I was like, I really should get back into that. So I did stream highlights for episode 8, 9, and 10. Currently, I'm in the middle of uploading the highlights to 10. But, as I found, so I've been uploading these highlights. And I was kind of like, oh, we'll do them leading up to the anniversary of Tears of the Kingdom. Which, in my memory, Tears of the Kingdom's anniversary is the 21st. But I was scrolling TikTok today, and I saw a video that was, hey, it's been 1 year since I beat Tears of the Kingdom. And I was like, what the fuck? Wait, did it come out today? No, it actually came... I thought it came out on the 21st. I had the number backwards. It came out on the 12th. So I have less than 48 hours to do my anniversary video. Like, I had a whole plan set out of like, hey, this is when I'm going to shoot the anniversary video. I'm going to edit it on this day. Just so that way, right, it lined up with some days I have off coming up. And I was like, oh yeah, this is going to line up perfectly and I'll be able to get it out on the 21st. Nope. The anniversary is is Sunday. So, fuck. I think I'm going to be able to get it done anyways. This is not the fastest turnaround I've done. I've got 48 hours. The fastest turnaround I've ever done, I think, was 8 hours, and I don't even remember what that was for. No, I've got less than 48. Because I usually try to get stuff around like sometime between 11 and 1 o'clock on those days. So, right, with that turnaround, yeah, I've got less than 48 hours, but I think I'll be able to make it. I've already gotten a bunch of clips. I would show one, but I could. Fuck it, let's... Boom. Do you want a sneak peek of what I'm doing? What's a good clip? trying to find a good one. And see, now we had the original take. Didn't like the original take as much. So now I'm going to do a second take. And boom, there's my second take. So yeah, I guess that's kind of... I know that tells you nothing, but that's basic. That's my opening clip. So, boom, there you go. I don't know. I need a few... I'd say I need a few more clips. I actually need a bunch of clips. There are certain things I'm looking for in Tears of the Kingdom that I just cannot find. Where it's like, okay, I know this is what I need. I just don't know where to find it or how to do it. Right? Like, because there are certain things where it's like, okay, well, I need this. Like, I need an animal. But that animal doesn't exist in this game. Oh, I guess I'll use this as a substitute. Right? That'll work fine. So that's been a lot of it. But I think it'll work out well in the end. But yeah, I'll post that on both YouTube and TikTok on Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. It's not going to be anything amazing, but it's something I've wanted to do literally for like a year now. It's been less, I would say like probably like around like June or July was when I had the idea for it. And I had it on stream. Like there's an entire stream of me talking about it. I just need to actually do it. So we're going to actually do it. But yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. So for now, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.